Hello everyone, I'm Sifu Lawrence Hill. Welcome to Systems Within Systems. You can reach me on systemswithinsystems.com. All the links are below, all the stuff that you need to get to watch these videos and whatnot. All right, today we're going to talk about weapons a little bit and weapon defense, which is a tricky thing to actually talk about. So I don't know how long or short this video is going to be. Just pause it. And we are working on getting better audio equipment so you can hear me better, but nothing's coming in the mail yet, so be patient. All right, anyway, as far as defending against a weapon or using a weapon, when I was younger, I was in quite a lot of different fights, so I had some experiences with dealing with weapons and dealing with people coming at you with knives. I'll do a quick little demo on that. The whole idea of being attacked with a weapon is you never know what to expect. So to me, defending against a weapon was always a key component of mine when I was younger. When I was younger, sometimes I would carry things on me, but most of it as you got older, you're not carrying weapons on you. And then by the time you do get to the weapon, whether it's a gun or a knife or whatnot, most of the attacks are surprises that come out of nowhere, and you don't really have time to reach for a weapon. So my thing was to make yourself the weapon, and anything that you grab, anything, whether it's a stone or a Starbucks straw, whatever it is, becomes an extension of what you are. And that's how we get into not how to use the weapons, more how to defend against it. In the battles that I was in on the street, it was always disarming or taking the weapon away or stopping the weapon from coming at me. So we'll talk about how to line yourself up to the weapon and how to engage it, right? If the weapon presents itself or if they're just coming at you. So there's been different situations that I was in where the weapon was presented, and most of them, they were coming at me with the weapons, all right? And you have to engage it right away. And it was always like not what you expected, especially when I was younger. As I got more experienced and understood more about the arts and had more experience on it, I was kind of more prepared and started developing techniques to line myself up to the weapon and what's going to be going on. So what I want to make a point is you see a lot of techniques on attacks. If a person is somewhat proficient with a knife, we'll just use a knife for now, not a crowbar or a wrench or something like that there. Just a knife. The chances of, if they're somewhat proficient, of making one excellent block work are very slim. And you're most likely going to get hurt from that. The last thing, you don't want to get stabbed. A cut isn't bad. That's kind of what you're looking if something happens. You don't go into any combat thinking that you're going to come out unscathed. That's what combat is about. So you have to lose your fear of the weapon, and you have to just defend. So you don't want to get stabbed. You don't want to get sliced, right? Cuts are okay, all right? But if you do get sliced, it's actually kind of sometimes worse than being stabbed, and you have to follow through. A block, you'll see a person block, they'll block things this way, and we'll go through some of the demonstrations with that, what you see in standard stuff, and you'll see more complicated stuff. You ain't going to be doing that. That is not going to happen, all right? So understanding the principles of lining yourself up to the weapon, making your body a weapon, and most importantly, attacking the weapon, all right? And how you're going to be doing that. So the first kind of attacks that I experienced were, one was a bigger guy, and he had the weapon this way here. It was about this size, and he's just coming down like this here. Right? Boom, 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 and you had all that force coming down. So you have all these standard blocks here and all this stuff. I'm going to tell you, when you got a dude that big or that mean, or it could be a smaller guy just coming at you, and he's just coming like this here, it's different than what you're showing in real life. So lining yourself up to the weapon, learning how to attack the weapon and be aggressive with the weapon against you. Once it starts coming through, it comes through. And I also seen that some horror stories with that as well. The one that really got me was when I was dealing with this one guy from some group organization, and you know, he knew I had a bit of a reputation. I guess I was young, like maybe 18, 19 years old, cocky. And he pulled out a weapon probably a little bit longer than this, and I never seen anything like this before. And he just pulled this out and just started coming like this, boom, 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 boom. And you can hear there was a big guy just shoot, 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 coming at me, unpredictable, just coming out. You can hear it going through the air. These two type of attacks, I was just lucky, but I learned something from it. This attack, basically, I just moved back trying, because there was no pattern of avoiding it, and I just laid back and I turned and I threw a back kick, a backside kick, and you know, I knocked him out and he was down. And, you know, I walked away, you know, and inside I'm going, what the heck just happened? I know that when I threw that kick, I closed my eyes, I just turned and I threw it, and I was lucky enough to hit him. You want to take luck out of it. That's when I really started getting into weapon defense. You're not going to be really carrying. How many of you are watching this carry something on them? You know, and if you are carrying something on you, do you have the option of actually getting to it right away? That's where we come into awareness and whatnot, the areas that you're in. But, you know, by the time you reach for your gun or you reach for your knife or whatever it is, unless you have it really ready to go, that person's already coming at you. And if they're coming at you the way that I just demonstrated, you got a guy coming at you like this here, your hands are up. You'll find that people that are attacked this way before they die, they have, you know, big gashes and cuts on their hands and on their face from the guy coming in this way. I never seen anybody come at me this way here, but obviously he had some experience and it must have worked for him before, you know. So we're going to talk about how to line yourself up to the weapon. What I really want to emphasize, all the blocking techniques, you know, that I do, the techniques of defending against the weapon, the hand techniques, the lockups, they're all legit, they all work, but using it in real life, they are good to know. You'll see a lot of, like in magazines where they're freezing different things and doing stuff, and you can work with your friend or whatever it is, your partner, and get that to move. But to think that's got to work in real life, I'm telling you, it's not. To have those techniques after you have somewhat a little bit of control of the situation, then it may work, but not from the get-go. And you can ask anybody who's been in real combat if I'm exaggerating that. So it isn't that you have this force field in front of you and that you're going to be able to avoid it. You have to understand how to attack it, how to address it, and how to move. There's not going to be a block. There's no singular block that's going to work. If there's an expert, you're in big, big trouble, because they're going to counter anything off of that with a move right after it. So this is why this type of technique, when we talk about weapon defense, it's not so important. You want to do something, you go out and you want to hit somebody, they turn you. Anybody could kill anybody, but you're not carrying things on you. You want to understand how to address it and what you have to do, especially if somebody pulls something out on you and you're fighting for your life. The difference is today is that people aren't presenting as much. They're just coming out and just coming in and just stabbing you. And that's when we could talk about awareness and what's going on around you, which is a very simple part. When we talk about the weapon part, if Vic can remind me, we'll talk about the zones, you know, the green, the red, the yellow zones, how you could be aware of that. I mean, you could be walking down the street because you're not aware. A kid on a skateboard comes up and just collides into you, and you break your foot or your leg. So it's about being aware of what's going on around you as well, depending on the environment. Here, I don't really have to worry too much unless a bird's going to fly to the side of my head. But you know, you're pretty aware of your surroundings. So this is kind of a green area. You have to attack the weapon. The other times when I was attacked with the weapons, it went a lot easier. Remember, the one guy that attacked me was just too dangerous to let him get any further, and he presented the weapon. As he presented the weapon, I went into action, and the weapon wasn't here, it was more to the front. All right? So it was much easier to deal with and take this person out. And this person was an extremely large, tough individual. And I knew him as well. So I knew what he was about. So I had to attack the weapon, line up to the weapon. And this is somewhere where we're going to get into taking the fantasy out of what the martial art is and bringing it into the combat realm. All right, martial arts is not about, you know, doing forms and doing all this. It's about engaging in combat against somebody. All that work is your foundation. So this is what we're going to talk about. So you see all this stuff, and then people are doing all this stuff, and they're doing this Tai Chi, and they're doing that. No. In action, it's completely different, and that's what I want to go through. I would like everybody to start to understand this, the idea of attacking the weapon. So in this, your legs become extremely valuable, and how you're going to be doing that. That's going to be a little bit tricky to teach, but we're going to get into all of that, how you're actually working against the weapon and attacking the weapon. And it's something you could practice with that ball, having that little ball in front of you to understand your range. There's a lot of stuff that comes into weapon defense, a lot. And if ever you are in a situation where you're facing with that, we'll try to go through the different techniques, you know, of dealing with somebody even coming at you this way, or coming at you, you know, this way, right? As far as attacking with a weapon or using a weapon, that stuff's pretty advanced. And there's a lot of laws that if you take somebody down with a weapon, even if you disarm them and you take the weapon away from them, whether it's a gun or a knife, and you use it against them, you're in big doo-doo. Okay? By law, once you disarm somebody, the fight stops. Okay? You don't pick it up and then continue from there. All right? So there's a lot of things that you have to know about that as well. All right, guys? Is there anything, Vic, that I missed in that? No. That I should cover? Anything that you guys pretty much covers it, and you got the whole idea? Mm-hmm. So that's scary stuff when people are coming at you that way, and you got the chain belts on, and you can hear the stuff coming at you back then. So addressing the weapon, guys, I just want to take the fantasy out of it. Combat, there's nothing fair in combat. It's everything goes. The guy is coming at you with his earlobes, his teeth, his nostrils. Everything's coming at you. Everything counts. So when a person has a weapon and it's an act of passion, it's different. Look at, Simpson, OJ, mm-hmm. where he almost took off the person's head because it was an act of passion, anger. And the people, I believe, had scars and cuts all over their hands, right, all over their arms, when they tried to defend themselves against it. It is hard, especially you take a man that's that powerful and he's just coming in. You know, that's what you have to deal with. All right? Okay, guys? All right. So the next time, we'll be talking about some weapon defense, and maybe I'll show how to use the weapon a little bit, but there's so much stuff out there that you could do it. Basically, you know, just point and go. All right. Grow, learn, teach, guys.